So now we're going to look at our refactor solution, and I'm in 038 refactor challenge, 02 refactored inline block RGBA. And I have the HTML up here, and already I'm liking it better, right? Like looking at this, h1, nav, main, versus looking at this, div, 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 right? Like there's meaning that's conveyed to me from the tags, from the elements that are used. There's meaning. This is my heading, this is my nav, this is my main. And so part of me, when I was putting this together, I'm like, well, should that be wrapped in the header and the header tag, right? Because this is kind of a header, so maybe I would do something like this. No, there we go. And then I could take this and put that inside here. And there could be a very good argument for that, for doing it that way, because this is the header. And that semantically tells me here is the header of the page. That's a super good argument. But there's also an equal argument, maybe a lesser argument actually, because headers, that's a good way. Just like, look, everything that goes in the header of the page should always be in the header tags. Like, I totally support that. But I wanted also to keep it simple. And so I just said, you know what, it's an H1. Let's just keep it simple. I'm putting it there. And so I left it out. And then there's the nav. And if I did my header tag, you know, really good argument for putting both of these things inside the header tag. Like, I could get behind that. I like that quite a bit. I hope that didn't screw up my CSS. Let's see what happens. I don't even have it launched. Let's launch it. Let's see if it's all messed up. Hey, it totally works. Totally works. So I'm going to leave it like that. I thought that might break the design because your selectors are sometimes set upon that. So there's my H1 and there's my nav. I'm going to leave that in the header. And then I have my main. I like that. That's great. And for my main, instead of a bunch of divs, I use sections. They aren't articles. Articles could stand on their own and be taken and put somewhere else. They call that syndication. If you syndicate something in the press, it's like, hey, I've syndicated this comic strip. It means like, hey, that could be taken and put in all the newspapers in all the world, and I could just retire. So an article could be taken and put somewhere else and stand on its own. It could be syndicated. And a section cannot stand on its own. It's just a section. And so this is a section of main. What's the difference between a section and a div? Well, a section conveys some meaning. A div is meaningless. A div is just a container when no other container applies. So this is like, you know, it says, hey, this is not an article. It's a section. It's just part of the main area. And so I did sections and I gave them IDs. And then one of the main things I did is I pulled out all of that code which we had here, which was repetitive, right? And I applied that to the entire sections, to each of the sections. And so now it's a height, and I've switched from using pixels to rim. And I think rim is just a better way to do it because then everything will be built off of the browser's default font size. And and then text align center and margin to rim. And I got rid of width auto. Like, what the heck even is width auto? If you go look that up in, oh wait, maybe it was a little, no, perfect. I thought I saw that was a little short there. If you go look width up in MDN, the initial value is auto. So if you don't set width, its initial value is already set to auto, which just means automatically, however, you know, the normal document flow works and box model and all that block level elements, just make my width the way that works. So width auto is completely unnecessary there. So I do not repeat yourself. I extracted my code, put it all right here. And then for each of them, I just set their colors individually. So look at how much cleaner and leaner and more readable that is. Go for readability. Go for clear over clever and concise. And this is actually clear and concise, so it's even better. Versus like, wall of code. What's it do? I got to figure each of those out. And here it's like section, dun, dun, dun. And then colors, cool, changing each of their colors. Totally consumable. All right, so the next big one was body. And in body, before we had, you know, all that, let me just bring this over so we could get it on one line. We had all this, right? And now I did font size and then background. And I could see that's what they do. And I could see image, repeat, position, attachment, size. There's no more, I shall sin no more. There's no more, which one is this? Are these together? Are these each to one or the other? Right? It's Image, repeat, position, attachment, size. Sweet. I like it. Right? Oh, here we have what was before. So I just think that that's so much better. And you can leave these quotes in or out. Mostly I like to try to keep them in. I don't know why. I don't know why. We should go look to see what the MDN says. Background MDN. Close enough. Google, fix that spelling for me. Thank you. Background image. And examples. And so here in the examples, quotes. So that's, part of why I stick with it. All right, and then the last thing I did was up here, I did my reset. So I pulled that reset out and I just added the McLeod reset. Oh, and then critically important, H1, color, made it bigger, text align center, nav, width, margin, text align center. So that's that one, brought my nav over to the center. And then LI, display inline block, right? So LI, display inline block. And we got rid of the borders, list, style, and none, right here. List, style, none in the reset. So LI, display, inline block. Nice thing about a reset is you understand what's in there after a while, and you're like, okay, that's all being taken care of in the reset, and it keeps the code you're working with a lot cleaner because it just sets the things that you like the way you like them starting out for each of them. All right, so that was my first refactor. In the next video, we're going to do a refactor with Flexbox. And so I want you, if you have not done so already, to look at this. And I want you to think about how would you do this with Flexbox instead of inline block. Hopefully you're like, kabam, no problem. Kill that one. Knock that out. And then also I want you to think about, can I make this somehow like a little cooler? And that's actually pretty cool because lean is clean is cool, is clear, is good, or something like that, which wasn't totally clear. But it's nice to be simple. Simple in design is a design, that's like a design principle, and it's very popular right now. As opposed to like, let's show how much stuff we have. It's like, let's give as little as possible because people are overwhelmed with information. So it's like, that Paradise thing I did with background attachment, Paradise Cove or whatever it's called. That's it. You look at it and you're like, okay, I understand this. Keep it simple. All right. Let's go see in the next video how I refactored this with Flexbox.